If we are aware that there are trade-offs for everything, then we don't have to be stressed out about figuring out what the best course of action is, and we don't have to judge ourselves or others for their choice of plans. Good is good, right? Well, resilience researchers always ask the question, for whom and in what context? There's a concept in resilience called trade-offs. It means that when we choose to do something, we're also sacrificing something else. For example, when we're building something strong and stable, we're giving up its ability to be mobile. Or if we choose to belong to a certain group of people, then we may need to sacrifice some of our personal preferences. Here's the story of an unintentional long-term trade-off. So in Japan, back in the 1950s, there was a lot of social injustice. The elderly were being treated very poorly, they were being neglected, they had a very bad quality of life. And then in 1963, the Japanese government began to roll out a social safety net. So how they did that was they would have working adults. So you have your minors or children, you have a group of people who worked and paid taxes, and then you had the population of elderly people. So the government would tax the working class and then use that money to pay for welfare and healthcare for the elderly patients. The results were amazing. From 1960 to 2017, the life expectancy grew from 70 to 87. And the number of people in the 1960s who were 100 years old or older was around 150. In the year 2017, there was around 70,000 people who were 100 or older. That's great, right? Well, the trade-off for having a longer lifespan is an increase in chronic illnesses like hypertension, arthritis, and dementia, which costs a lot of money to treat. On top of that, the ratio between the elderly non-working people and the working taxable people changed. Between 1960 and 2017, the percentage of people over 65 grew from 6 to 30% of the population. So now there's less people who are working and paying taxes to the government, but there are more people to pay for chronic illnesses for. Something that was intended to be good created more problems. Why is this important? In our own lives, we constantly stress out about doing what's good. What's the best course of action for me? Now, some people do one of two things. They'll either do nothing, and this is called paralysis by analysis. They're constantly trying to figure out what the best course of action is, and finally they say, nothing's good, so I'm not going to do anything. Or they do something, and they constantly stress out about whether or not they did the right thing, so they're always second-guessing themselves. Both of these paths cause people to be tensed up and worried, and it puts them at risk for chronic illnesses. On the other hand, some people have a very strong belief that this is the best thing to do. I need to work hard to get good grades. I need to build my career so I can get rich. And then they judge other people who don't do it, or they judge themselves if they fail. They're not able to see that the trade-off is that they're putting a lot of pressure on themselves, and they're sacrificing their time with their loved ones or other things that they can be enjoying. This also puts them at risk for chronic illnesses and decreases their capacity for future challenges. This is also bad. Okay, so some people might say that if there's trade-offs for everything, then nothing is truly good, so why bother caring about anything anyway? I'm not saying that nothing is good. What I am saying is that if we are aware that there are trade-offs for everything, then we don't have to be stressed out about figuring out what the best course of action is. And we don't have to judge ourselves or others for their choice of plans.